It is Saturday, November 16th, and welcome to a new episode of You Don't Watch Sports right here on the Feo Grande YouTube network. I am Bill Smith. I'm joined as always by the man, the myth, the legend, Feo Grande himself. Oh, Mari Ellis. Oh, Mari, did you watch any of that snooze fest that was Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson last night?
I did not. I had planned to. Things happened. Kind of glad I missed it.
Yeah, it was a mess in all angles and proportions except for a couple of interesting fights to open up the night, but otherwise Netflix had terrible streaming abilities, which doesn't bode well for WWE moving there in the new year if Netflix can't fix that live streaming, although a lot of eyeballs I'm sure were on last night. And then the match between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul ended up looking like exactly what it was, which was a man fighting with a other man 30 years older than him.
And with some alleged stipulations that he wouldn't get paid enough unless the fight went 8 rounds anyway, or some shit like that, or he get paid less if he knocked him out any earlier than the last round, or some stupid.
Anyways, we're not going to talk about that one in one of our topics because it's not worth it. But we do have 3 topics here to cover on You Don't Watch Sports as we sprinkle just a little bit of sports information into your casual conversation as we are this guiding light through the sea that is sports talk. Omari, topic number 1, we got the NFL going strong and we got a lot of things to talk about. What do we got?
Yeah, week 11. We got a few things to talk about. A little business as usual, The Chiefs, with their mistake-free, disciplined football, 10-0. 10-0 on the season, unstopped. After their defeat of the Panthers tomorrow, they will be 10-0 on the season. And we are gonna move on with that. Meanwhile, 8-1 are the Detroit Lions. Did anyone expect them to be here? Did anyone expect them to be this serious? Well, you should have. And I'm pretty sure the man with me on this show is an individual that said that would happen. Or not, maybe not 8-1, maybe not 8-1, but that they would be dominant this season.
Yeah, they got some tough divisional games coming up. No matter how you look at the Bears and the Packers this season, and the Vikings.
The AFC North.
That division always is North. Going to, yeah, and then no matter what, even if those teams are bad, somehow when they're playing each other, it's going to be a nail biter. And then they also have the 49ers late in the season, but Lions are looking really strong. The Chiefs, they play the Bills tomorrow. And then they'll play the Panthers next week.
Oh, okay.
So maybe their last speed bump of the season is tomorrow with the Buffalo Bills. And then they have a pretty clear runway, barring sitting major pieces of their talent roster, because they are so set for the postseason potentially. This could happen when you're playing the second to last week of the season against the Steelers, who do look like a decent team.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll have the Broncos at the last game of the year. But those games where there potentially might be sitting a few people, giving some players some rest or not. The Bills tomorrow looks like the biggest speed bump for them.
Yes, I can agree with that. If they do indeed have to face the Bills, because I thought the Panthers was this week, so I was like, oh, okay. So I was a week ahead. So the last real speed bump they have is today. So they're 9-0 for now. The Chiefs 9-0 for now, but I don't.
Enough about winning teams. Who are these? Who would you say is most disappointing looking so far this season?
For us. Not necessarily. I wouldn't say these guys are necessarily disappointing because we don't really pull for either of these teams. But for given all the hype that people put into these two teams, how about them, the Cowboys and the Jets. I had said it before. I said it last season when they signed the man and they thought he would save it. And I'm going to continue to tell you, West Side Story said it best. When you're a Jet all the way. And the Jets suck. It doesn't matter how good you were before you went there. You're bad now. You're a Jet. Congratulations. There are 3 wins on the season so far.
I am not somebody who is typically a Cowboys hater. I feel like men of our age, it is very hard because Michael Irving, Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman looked like superheroes to us.
Yeah.
At the age that they were doing what they were doing. But
and I have a soft spot
fuck
for
the
teams.
Jets.
I have a soft spot for teams that are blue and silver with stars as their mascot.
you know,
So so I don't want to hate the Cowboys. However, it is kind of funny seeing the Stephen A. Smith, maximum heel as far as a Cowboy fan would be. Or to a Cowboy fan, this man is the heelest of heels. Just every fucking Sunday. I told you. An accident waiting to happen.
well, I mean, the thing with the Cowboys is Jerry Jones is very hateable. So that's the dichotomy there with the Dallas
you
Cowboys.
Root for like your Dax and the whatnot. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, and your nostalgia of the early 90s Cowboys, and yeah, like you said, it's a very clean uniform. Like you can't, even without our high school connection, is what you were alluding to. Either way, it's a classic uniform.
It really is.
Jerry Jones is that hateable to where it overcomes. But yeah, the Jets, I'm so happy that they are disappointing.
Sometimes in this ever-changing world, you look for pillars of consistency, and the Jets remaining bad is a nice pillar of consistency to have. That said, that's pretty much NFL this week. Nothing too crazy on the horizon at the moment. I mean, the Ravens are still, out there going strong. Fucking Saquon Barkley's got the Eagles looking strong now at this time of season, giving me a lot of fantasy points. But that's enough for football right now. I'm going to move on to the NBA.
Yeah. Let's move on to the NBA. We're about a month into the season. Let's get cracking on some of those storylines.
Yeah.
What do we got for us?
The Cavaliers. Who says if LeBron leaves your team, you're going to be bad until he comes back? Not the Cleveland Cavaliers. 14-0 right now. Still undefeated at the top of the NBA. No one would have seen it coming. I know I didn't. Not 14-0. Not in this day and age. There's so much parity in the NBA right now. So many strong people. Like down there in San Antonio, our guy, Victor Wembanyama, mentioned him at the start of last season.
Disgusting.
Had his first 50-point game.
Gross.
4th youngest player to
Gross.
do it.
The man is disgusting. I can't stand it. My God. When a 7'2" or whatever he is pulls up for a 3-pointer, I don't know what you do. I don't know what you do with that.
Oh, you lose, and that's what people are gonna keep doing.
You lose.
His time is gonna continue. That man is terrified. He's got Chris Paul feeding him now. Of all people, you get the point god, as he has been called by many, Chris Paul, to come in here and help you get more baskets because you already have an easy time as it is.
Yep.
But now he's a legitimate threat with the ball in his own hands, so people have to take defense off of you, even though you're the obvious target. Smart move by the Spurs getting Chris Paul. Meanwhile, while we talk about the potential future king, the current king will not put his crown down. Not yet. Not yet. He put the championship ring down. He's not trying to, but he hasn't won championship ring in a minute. But he is still showing that he's that dude that you can't take lightly. LeBron has a triple-double streak going right now that is currently 4 games in a row. Not a lot of scoring, but a lot of rebounds and assists to his other guy, the guy we've been telling you, like if he actually plays this way on a consistent basis, the team's gonna be scary. Anthony Davis. Like the other night in the in-season tournament, which is now going on, or the Emirates NBA Cup, as it officially has been titled, the Emirates NBA Cup. Let me back up a bit. I'm all in the camera. The Emirates NBA Cup. Yeah, that is underway. LeBron, it's in the group stage now, so everybody's playing everybody. There's no bracket. It's literally just started on Tuesday. So some teams are 2-0, some teams 1-1, 1-2. The Lakers, your returning champions, got AD going off for 40 points. LeBron going off for these triple doubles. It looks like him and JJ Redick. Someone had a clip of the two of them talking when they had that podcast last season where they talked about different strategies they would use if they work together, and it's looking like they're starting to go with it where they're leaning more on the fact that LeBron is a good passer and stuff and doing all of this stuff, which other coaches have tried. I'm not going to be like, oh, JJ Redick, some super genius that never thought of this before, but it's working right now.
Right.
And that's all I'm saying. The stuff they seem to be working on, the bouncing of their minds there seems to be working on the field, and AD is playing like a maniac. Hard to stop him. Meanwhile, Steph Curry also playing like a maniac, going off 37 against his former Splash brother, Klay Thompson, earlier this week. Alleged beef or drama about unanswered phone calls when we were gonna honor you at the stadium type stuff. But the Warriors are going strong. But the Cavaliers, it's a crazy NBA season. The Bucks have Giannis going off for crazy and still losing. It's just not a good scene up there in Milwaukee. We don't know what's going on, but it's a fun NBA season to start.
So let's make our early shot here. Let's call our early shot Emirates NBA Cup. Who you got? Returning champ LA Lakers, our boy Wemby. You got the 14-0 Cavs sitting there in the tournament. You got the predicted NBA champions and the Boston Celtics, the returning champions. What are you thinking?
So there's 6 groups, and we're supposed to somehow get 8 teams for a tournament out of it.
Right. You got the best of each group, and then you have the 2 best records remaining of everyone else.
Okay.
So 2. Essentially, it's a mini season. It's you got your divisions, you got your division champions, and you got your 2 wild cards.
Yeah.
And then they play in a postseason tournament.
Gotcha. So real quick, Group A, I don't know. I don't think the person coming out of Group A wins. So let's see: Lakers, Warriors, Cavaliers, Celtics. They've Pacers maybe, and Knicks.
I'm gonna go ahead and put my money behind the 14-0 Cavaliers.
Okay.
So I'll declare them.
For maximum story, I want their opponent in the finals to be the Lakers because LeBron is very serious about this in-season tournament thing, being the in-season tournament MVP last year rather than the actual champion. So,
right.
And while he's still early season, healthy LeBron and can put all the effort in he wants to, I'm going to still go behind my man LeBron. Let's say, and because maximum story, the King versus the Cavaliers in the finals. Can we stop this man who betrayed us in our city and left for the flashy lights of LA? Can we stop him and put a rein on his parade? Because he can't do it on his championship parade. He ain't going to get one. That's what they're saying in Cleveland. That's what they're saying.
Okay. All right, Amari, let's move on to topic number 3. We're talking a little early on AEW Full Gear that's going to be happening this time next week, and we just want to get ahead of it a little bit. We have we have 9 matches so far, including the pre-show. Probably 1 more added in main show, maybe 2 more added in pre-show. That's yet to be determined, but we're going to go through what we have right now, and we want to lay down our predictions, talk about what we think might happen. First, in the pre-show, we got a fun little match with QT Marshall, and then a couple of like TikToker, social media guys, former actual, I think, independent wrestler, Big Boom AJ, also known as the Costco guy, with his son Big Justice.
Oh,
Um, they break
wait,
the boom,
wait.
I think is their bit.
They're
They're going to be
having a
wrestling
match.
QT Marshall. Yeah, probably. This is just going to be a fun, goofy match in the pre-show to try and get maybe like
Non-wrestling
maybe you
fans
get a
to,
1,000 eyeballs onto this
yeah.
thing, and then they decide to buy the pay-per-view kind of thing. So I think that's just gonna be fun. You'll probably have an appearance from the Rizzler, this guy,
Hmm.
this little guy, like he's a little kid
Okay.
who does this a lot. He hangs out with the Costco guys. So that's just going to be a goofy little match. Just schmoz fest, probably. Then let's see. We're getting into the real stuff here. MJF is currently planning to face Roderick Strong. Roderick and Adam Cole were in a race to 3 wins. Whoever got 3 wins first got the honor of fighting MJF at Full Gear, as far as MJF's view of the situation. And Roderick was the first one to do it, as Adam Cole lost in his third match to Konosuke Takeshita. What do you think? I'd assume that Roderick's going to lose this here because this is building to Adam Cole MJF. If not, some scenario where this ends up turning into MJF Adam Cole.
Where Adam Cole cheats to get his buddy Roderick the win, pissing off MJF. But
Right,
that
or I'm
said,
thinking MJF has someone either he attacks or has someone pre-match attack Roddy to
oh, he said to
where
turn this match into that.
yeah, to where because of the stips we had in the Dynamites before, well then Adam Cole is just conveniently inserted into this match. Oh, MJF, you thought you were getting the night off kind of thing.
I can see
I
that.
could potentially see that happening. But
But
yeah,
I
this
got
is building.
MJF.
Yeah, this is building to the Adam Cole MJF either
Yeah,
way.
in lieu of that particular scenario, it's MJF winning.
Yeah. Jay White, Hangman Adam Page. This has already happened once, and we have a Jay White victory, Omari. So I think this is pretty clear that we're probably going to get a Hangman Adam Page, but they could always do
Adam
something different.
Page, baby. Yeah, I'm going Adam Page, but I kind of agree. I mean,
Yeah,
Adam Page will keep going at you until he does win. I mean,
right.
he burned a man's house down.
Jay White is so cool. I just hope I hope we continue his progression.
Yeah,
Sometimes this is those fringe guys that kind of live in the mid to upper card. Sometimes this a loss in here can kind of shift them back in the program. I'm not sure what he would do next, but I think Hangman Adam Page needs to win this. I just hope Jay White has things going on forward, which we have the Continental Classic tournament coming up soon. I would imagine even a number of these things, uh, we might have consequential things for that tournament going on in this pay-per-view. So this match is a perfect example of that potentially happening. We got our 4-way tag team match for the AEW World Tag Team titles. Private Party versus the current fan favorites, the 80s throwback, the Outrunners, versus Kings of the Black Throne, which never rolls off the tongue well for me, but Malachi Black and Brody King. I love Malachi Black and Brody King and Buddy Matthews. Love what they're
House
doing.
of Black.
House of Black in general, and we got Julia doing a bunch of video packages teasing her return, which is very exciting. And then we also have the Acclaimed coming up. The Ass Family is here tonight, and Private Party just won these titles, Omari. I am somebody who is pro hot potatoing the belt
Yes.
in the right scenario. I think when you're hot potatoing the belt amongst good talent, it's acceptable and it's fun and it's interesting.
Yes.
It's when you start hot potatoing talent or hot potatoing belts between teams that aren't over or aren't good workers in the ring, aren't going to have good matches. It's not interesting storylines. It's literally just passing wins and losses back and forth, and nothing interesting happens. I think you could do some hot potatoing here, and it's an acceptable thing for me. There are three acceptable outcomes for me on this match. Private Party retains
All
because
right.
they just received the championship. The Outrunners win because they are so over right now with the fans in merch sales, and when they come out to their entrances, when they come out to the ring, their promos, their video packages, all big stuff for AEW right now. And then Kings of the Black Throne, a lot of people say have not
Yeah.
gotten enough in their time in AEW for what they represent
Yeah.
in ring and being an interesting different storyline and representing that spooky side of wrestling that's always there.
Yeah.
They're leading
They're
the charge on that.
definitely one of the big teams in that spooky division of AEW.
The Acclaimed, I've voiced my opinion on them before on this channel. Eh, eh.
So I'm with you. Pretty much the same three acceptable winners. Nothing against the Acclaim except for the fact that from what I've seen on the Twitters, um, they're kind of teasing a potential, if not breakup, but like maybe like some heel shit going on, with like Max Caster or whatever. Max Caster's the rapper, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Max Caster. People, and also apparently people are souring on him for whatever reason. That said, I do believe Fatal Four Way. I think I mentioned it last week or a couple weeks ago. I kind of believe Fatal Four Ways are made for people to lose titles. And looks the with an excuse like, well, anybody could get pinned, and if Acclaim turn on each other and get the pin, anybody could win this match. That said, I'm gonna go with who I'm rooting for the most, as opposed to who I think will win the most, because I don't know enough about AEW structure right now. Let's go House of Black for the reasons you mentioned. I want them to win because I like the idea of them being the spooky guys that don't necessarily care about titles. But I want it to be like if they do get out of that division where they're fighting other spooky people or shit like that. Oh, you messed up. You let them in here. Now they got the titles and now they're a problem for the main roster till someone buries them back into the fucking spooky division again.
I would love to see Malachi Black and Brody King win this match. I'm gonna predict that Private Party retains.
All right.
My favorite thing would be the Outrunners holding this title for 5 days until the next Dynamite, and then they drop it again. But you have all of those pictures that live forever of them, and you get like 2 video packages with them. I think that would be my favorite thing. But I'm going to predict Private Party retains here. Let's go to Mercedes Moné with Camille versus a newly babyface Chris Statlander. This is an interesting one because they have been teasing very heavily suddenly the last couple weeks a dissension in the ranks between Camille and Mercedes.
Okay.
Dissension and tension in their backstage vignettes, in their in-ring situations, a lot of off-timing, miscommunication kind of stuff. Mercedes kind of being a little bit of a heel towards her assistant bodyguard, blaming her for moments kind of thing. But I don't think they're going to drop this title to Chris Statlander, because this story doesn't feel justified to do that with how you built Mercedes so far. So I don't know if they're just building up for Camille to be her next feud for this title right now, or if Camille might actually cost Mercedes this match where Statlander walks away the TBS champion. I don't think that's what's happening, but it feels like that's what's going to happen based on the TV product. But I
Yeah.
don't think they're going to do that, if that makes sense.
Well, from what I know from when I was watching AEW, they love their slow burns, especially when it comes to I'm a heel with the minion that I clearly abuse, and we want to tease that this minion's gonna finally snap.
Yeah.
Killswitch has been pretending to snap on Christian for like the past 8 months. Wardlow took forever to break out of MJF's control.
Uh-huh.
So I think like you said, where they are in the story, I don't think Camille's gonna snap on Mercedes just yet
Mhm.
because that just seems to be the AEW method of, MO. Yeah, just
Right.
MO. That said, if anybody would just beat what's her name anyway, beat Mercedes, make Mercedes have more tension between Camille because Camille, cost her the match, but they're still together. I could see Statlander being that person to upset her because if I remember correctly, Statlander's who they gave Jade Streak to.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't aware. I mean, she's great. She's great in the ring. Um, uh, her and Willow's street fight or whatever, no holds barred thing that they did to kind of end their blood feud was really great. Really great. One of my favorite AEW matches of the year, honestly. But I also really love Willow Nightingale. That's kind of part of my hesitation here is I feel like this should be a Willow Nightingale spot potentially, which is why it's also that's what makes this weird for me is because Statlander was just the bad guy in a blood feud just a month or two ago, and had a heel manager that and all of that stuff, and they didn't do a breakup angle or anything. It was just one
Now
day
she's
she
the
showed up on
face.
Dynamite and said, "I don't hang out with that guy anymore, and I'm a good guy now." And it's just I can't see them dropping the title in that scenario.
Yeah.
But it can happen. It can happen. A lot has been talked about on the internets of this being a hard reset for AEW, this pay-per-view, and the last 2 months in general, with the John Moxley storyline, the dis the dissolving of the elite storyline that they had been working on, um, all of this coming together. This could be part of it. And we'll talk about later matches later on. This could be part of it. Swerve Strickland versus Bobby Lashley. Talk about a hard reset. You got the Hurt Syndicate coming into this game, and we have not seen Bobby Lashley in an AEW ring in an official match yet, and this is going to be very interesting. It's probably going to be a little bit of a interference fest at the end, I would assume, to protect Swerve Strickland, but I think it's also going to be a lot of this match Bobby Lashley being extremely dominant. Um, we I think we talked about it off camera a while ago, the way they have been depicting um,
Shelton Benjamin.
Shelton Benjamin since his coming to AEW is as a powerhouse,
Oh
as a
well.
man who runs through people, just even on top of his amazing athletic ability that we think of Shelton Benjamin
Well, I
from
mean, he's the
in
gold standard
WWE.
for a reason.
Yeah. He has gotten bigger and buffer, and
No
in
stopping him
in an
now.
in an AEW roster, which is a smaller man's territory, using old wrestling speak. Um, he is now almost a big man wrestling in a big man powerhouse role. So I can't imagine what they're about ready to depict Bobby Lashley to be. He is going to run wild on this
Yeah,
roster now, and it starts with Swerve Strickland, and
in
I
light
think
of
Bobby
that,
Lashley gets this victory.
well, not in light of it, but because like thinking of that when you were talking like beforehand, I don't know if it's going to be an interference fest. This may be your fucking Suplex City esque. I'm sorry to use a Brock Lesnar analogy, but it's a hey, this guy that we know is a fucking strong person. Yeah, this big dude's here now, but we're gonna have us a
No, I
oh.
think if I had to produce this match, I think it is 90% squash.
Mm-hmm.
And then because we built Swerve Strickland up to be on this tier, I think it is a 90% squash, then 10% fighting spirit baby face comeback. And then either enough interference from MVP and Shelton Benjamin to justify it, or I think this even qualifies to potentially add somebody to the Hurt Syndicate. We could add Leo Rush. We could add a Ricochet. We could add somebody else. Mercedes Monet has been rumored to be adding to the syndicate. This could be our storyline moment to add to.
And she could be the CEO of the syndicate.
Yeah. I don't know if the boys would like that much, but maybe.
Well, I
uh,
mean, she's gonna call herself that.
Continuing on our potential reset of things that we're building at the towards the end of the summer, you have our TNT Championship, Jack Perry versus Daniel Garcia. Omari, this is maybe one of the most unknown on the show because I don't know what the hell you do with Jack Perry in this situation, and I don't know if they know yet. They haven't really presented what, like, he isn't. The Bucks are gone. Kazuchika Okada should still be there, but I don't think they're presenting them as like a side by side pair now that the Bucks are gone. So he was a man who was built into a faction, and now he's factionless. Again, no breakup angle or no, it's just he's don't know what they're gonna, if they're just going to, if that's it now. If he's Jack Perry the scapegoat, he is by himself, and he's going to continue on in this mid card division. If so, I think he's winning this. If it's we tried this elite storyline, it's not working. You had your heat for a minute, Jack Perry, but it kind of fizzled. We're going to give the belt to Daniel Garcia. I can also see that happening. But then that's also a little disappointing. I mean, one of my biggest quirks of AEW 2024 has been Darby Allin losing that casket match at Wembley to Jack Perry, and in such a dominant fashion that
Yeah.
Jack Perry did it. I feel like he's got to continue holding on to this belt. Um, but I think Daniel Garcia is going to win this. I don't know. I don't know.
People love them some Daniel Garcia and hate them some Jack Perry. So if they're doing a hard reset to try and boost the fandoms and all that stuff, or whatever, as alleged earlier, or as been mentioned as having been alleged earlier,
Mm-hmm.
then I could see them giving this to Daniel Garcia because, like you mentioned, heat fizzling out on Jack Perry and all of that. We did what we could with him. He'll come back later. He's young. They clearly will find something for him. They went public with their whole idea of these pillars a while back. Everyone talks about the pillars. Perry was one of them. So clearly they're gonna keep trying to do something with Jungle Jack Perry or the scapegoat.
Was Garcia not a fourth as well?
It was Guevara, Allen,
Perry, Allen.
MJF.
Oh, I thought MJF had already superseded the pillar. I thought Garcia was a pillar by the time MJF was like
No,
upper mid card main event level.
now that the ones that they
That would have been when I'm not watching, so
the
that's
ones
more your
that they
territory.
went public with
Okay.
a while back are those four. Like to the point to where they like the four pillars will all be in the ring tonight talking.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I mean,
That said, Daniel Garcia could be because he's grown up the way he did. I know Ricky Starks is someone that popped up bigger than they thought he would and stuff like that. So who knows what changed behind the scenes. But at least publicly they can't be like, well, we gave up on Jack. You said you were building your company on this dude. You find something for him. Also, he's young. Anyway, I got Garcia winning this.
I have no idea. Yeah, tell us in the comments if you have an opinion on this match, because I am lost. I'm not sure. I'm
also lost, but I have to pick somebody, so I'm picking Garcia just to be.
What is going to be an amazing match? Probably the show stealer match of the night, Omari. You got Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher. You got Will Ospreay versus Will Ospreay clone accusatorily. You got Will Ospreay versus Will Ospreay protege potentially. This is going to be a fun one. I think it happened. I think it might have been Will Ospreay's very first match entering into AEW. If not his first, very early on in an entrant into the Don Callis. I think that was kind of the initiation into the Don Callis family kind of thing, if I'm not mistaken, which Ospreay would have won. I think I'm going to predict that this is Kyle Fletcher on villain heel shenanigans track. Is what I'm thinking is happening. I think they want to build up Kyle Fletcher and make this an interesting thing for Will Ospreay that can maybe keep him away from the title situation, keep him occupied, focused on a proper blood feud.
Yeah.
And for that to happen, I think it needs to have a couple more matches. And if the couple more matches need to happen, I think Will Ospreay needs to lose here.
That is a very fair way to look at it. I'm gonna say Ospreay.
All right.
Yep.
We should start tallying these.
Because
we should start keeping a running tally.
Who's right about it? Who's right and wrong? Yeah.
All right. Now AEW World Title on the line, Omari. I think we're gonna have a murder.
Oh.
I think Jon Moxley is going to murder Orange Cassidy on AEW Full Gear next week. Not literally, of course, but wrestling terms. He is quoted saying that he wants AEW fans to abandon all hope. I think it's I think the most interesting thing you can do here is have a squash match in your main event of your pay-per-view, which is very un-AEW, I know. But the way you have been building Super Jon Moxley these last few weeks, I think the most interesting thing you can do, because we're not doing this storyline for Moxley to drop the title this fast. That's almost out of the question. I don't know if anybody is really truly seriously considering that Orange Cassidy is about ready to win this match. I appreciate that Orange Cassidy is in this match. Fighting spirit of AEW, like the fans have loved him for so long.
He's a resilient motherfucker.
He was that international champion for a really long time.
He was. He was so tired. Per his Titantron.
I think he is here to get murdered.
I'm kind of with you on that one too. I'm an Orange Cassidy fan. He makes me laugh. Has since I first saw the character. You know, I bought into the gimmick early on. I'm like, okay, this is a good entertainment thing. But then he got as big as he did. I think he's another guy that, you know, they're like, damn, we went so public about these pillars thing, but people really like these other guys.
Where is Danhausen? Put Danhausen on TV.
I agree with that. I've had some coffeehausen. It's pretty good. There you go. Right.
Put
there.
Danhausen on TV, please. Please.
I will always be there. Fluffles came over to visit once while we had an episode of Dynamite on. And my roommate and I at the time were like, check this out. And Danhausen came on and he was just like, the hell? That's Danhausen. He's very nice and very evil. But
Very
it
nice,
changed
very
the way,
evil.
that was the only thing he talked about was Danhausen. Guys, you have a merch king waiting there. It's Danhausen. Use him. Anyway, yeah, I agree. Moxley, if you want to do this, Moxley's terrifying, I'm serious now. Yeah, you kill Orange Cassidy here. Because he
Absolutely.
is so resilient. He is that guy that had that title forever.
I'm excited to see it. I'm going to be honest. I am much more interested in the storylines of AEW now than I was 3 months ago. I was not into the Elite takes over AEW story. It never caught on for me. And this, the second it happened, I am so much more into Wheeler Yuta, so much more into Claudio Castagnoli, so much more into John Moxley. I am excited for the future of potentially Darby Allin actually being built for the man to take down John Moxley. This could go in so many ways, depending on how long. If it's a really, really long, slow burn, I could see Wheeler Yuta being the man that's slowly built up over time to be the man that takes out Moxley from within the Death Riders club.
Is that what they're calling themselves now?
Yes, they are no longer the Blackpool Combat Club. They are Death Riders.
Gotcha. Okay.
Alrighty, well that covers our 3 topics. We did a big one today for you folks.
Yeah.
If you want to see us talk about other random stuff, you can get at us in the comments about what sports topics you want to see. Also, you can go over to our other videos where we talk about movies, TV shows, music videos, documentaries, all kinds of stuff on This Guy Hasn't Seen, where we share one thing back and forth that one guy has seen, the other one hasn't. It's kind of like a little movie club, like a book club, but with movies and TV shows, things we watch with your eyeballs instead of read with your eyeballs. It's a fun show. Check that out on Tuesdays. We also have every once in a while on Mondays, we have a wrestling and drafting specific show centered around our wrestling fantasy league. But we also have episodes where we draft random things like who's the best soup as boxing matches. So stay tuned for that one. On Wednesdays, every once in a while, we have Whatever We Want with friend of the show, Super Jazz.
Super Jazz.
That's right, where they do exactly that. They talk about whatever they want. That occurs on Wednesdays sometimes. Stay tuned for shows on Thursdays and Fridays and Sundays. We're going to get at you every day of the week, but live here on Sundays at like 11 a.m. We'll see if we can be consistent with that. Who knows? Thank you for joining us. Elmar, you got anything else to say?
I do not. I do. I have a Twitter and Twitch, Giotavi, Giotavi. Come on in. Stop on by. Streaming every day. Every day.
All right.
Yeah.
See you next time. Bye.
Right. Adiosness.